Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic and this is another reaction to Oregairu, or the teen romantic comedy that never happened as expected, or Snafu, or whatever you want to call it. And you know what to do. If you want to see the reaction itself, just go down into my descriptions, follow the links, replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots, and enjoy. Once you've done, feel free to come back here to hear me talk about this pretty interesting episode. So, I will see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. I guess we have to discuss a lot today, because that episode was just great. I really liked it. There was so much in it, and there's a lot that you can go out more than endlessly. I mean, they are stepping up their game here with this episode, because we are talking from, I think, very different perspectives due to the characters about an issue that really exists and that many of those characters had in their past. What do I mean by that? So we have a girl that is being shunned by the class. And she says that this kind of shunning, single, I guess, girls, maybe boys as well, is always started by one person and everyone just follows along. And this happened in the past with others. And she did do it as well. So she's not only the one that is being shunned, she was someone who shunned as well in the past others. So always a problem. Now you see it on your how it happens to yourself. That's the one thing. We have, however, with the counselors, many characters who either experienced this themselves, who were part of it, being those who did it, or who were bystanders, who did not, or maybe did, interact with those persons, try to help or did not try to help. So there's a lot of reflection possible for all those characters. The question is, which characters will do it? So let's go through from the beginning. We had the start of this episode, how it all happened. In the end, it is the teacher. It is Hiratsuka. I think it's Hiratsuka. I really like her. The teacher is creative, is in many ways clever, because she puts those two groups together. And by doing so, she tries to help both groups, in my opinion. So we have the group of the, we are so good looking, we are the ones that are always liked, we are the, you know, like the group favorites, the class favorite, those four characters. One follower and one, I think she's a follower as well, the girl with the glasses. And we have the other group, which is our club. Two loners in a very different kind of ways, and one person who, I don't know, is she loner or is she with the favorites? She's between those two groups. She could be the one that kind of could mediate there. So those two groups interacting with each other, maybe learning from each other different things about social life, you know, and while being there, being the counselors to younger people, to those from middle school, it is, if I'm not wrong. So you have very different characters to help those kids in whatever way. So we have those who were like, but you are cute. Don't know. You have those who are loners themselves. You have those who were loners. So, as I said, a lot of potential there. It's really good. I mean, in many ways, I would like this to go over multiple episodes to see the different approaches of those different characters that we know from the older class towards this girl or towards the other girls. Because I think everyone will handle it differently. And in my opinion, there's like no really wrong way of handling it. Everyone could find a solution with their very own ways. So, however, we got there because the teacher invited everyone. In case of Hickey, he was kind of lured into it. He didn't know, so it was his sister who moved along, and he didn't know. But I like it because it shows that he is willing to do something for his sister. He did not really think much about it. She asked him and he agreed. So he is not a loner when it comes to her. He's willing because just because she wants to go out with her. there was nothing in it for him, you know, apart from spending time with your family. So there's a good one thing. We had this "ja hallo" greeting, where I was asking what the heck does it mean, because as some of you may know, I'm from Germany, and "hallo" is, without the "ja" in the beginning, is hello in German. So maybe that's just thinking, maybe, and "ja" means yes, just written with a J. So saying "ja hallo" means yes, hi, something like that. So just guessing. Maybe it's a word that has another meaning. You can tell me. They went to Chibamura. I guess it's a known place. I don't know it. And community service as counselors for a summer camp, which is in this way interesting because the club itself in the past tried to help other people, and doing community service and counseling younger ones is kind of in the same direction. You know, it's a social thing. It is about how to interact with people, helping each other, and so on and so forth. That they themselves will learn something there is a benefit. And I think it is a benefit they kind of need, if you know. And then there was this great sentence from the teacher, from Hiratsuka. I'm not completely sure if I get it, but you have to learn how to live with them, talking about the other group, without fighting or ignoring them. So without fighting is one thing, and in many ways the idea of being a loner very much pointed on the living circumstances of just, you know, sliding by, living next to them, ignoring them and being ignored. So it's like, I don't disturb your ways, you don't disturb mine. But that is not real social life, you know, it's just being loner. So what the teacher wants to have is that you live with them. They are part of your world. That's it. Then they had this, what I thought I could reflect about, but thus I have other themes now. The question of when I was a youngster, those in higher schools always looked so grown up, and now it's, you know, not so. How can I be looked at like that? I guess most of you know this. When you were in elementary school, so you're a very, very small child, at least for me, when I look to those who were 2, 3, 4 classes higher, they always looked like, holy heck, they are so grown up. I feel respect towards them. That's something I learned in my time. It changed a bit, I guess. But you always, this looking up was not just by height. It was a feeling of that they are more grown up, much more adult. I mean, they are. But there was this aura of wow, you know? And when you grow up, very often you don't realize it. But being more neither adult now, I see children when they interact with adults, and interact with me or my friends. There is this moment of what do they see in you, and are they right? Because I don't know how it is for you. I just got older. The question if I got more mature, discussion worthy. So that's the thing when a child is like, but you're grown up. I'm like, oh well, the outside maybe. Just saying. So we have Rumi, who is on this picture here. And so in the first scenes it was already pretty clear. She drew my attention because she was standing outside of the group, playing with her camera or whatsoever. So, by the way, that would be an option to get her in. She seems to be interested in her camera, making photos, and so on. So that could be a position in the class for her as well. The one that makes the photos, the one who does like the letter, class letter, something like that. And by doing so, she might be integrated again. Just saying, just came to my mind. However, we had Hayama, who is the good guy, you know, the always smiling, good, positive dude. He got all the kids in except for her. And there was a moment when I was like, so he doesn't realize she is there. He doesn't realize the fact that she's standing outside. So he's like a bit like blindfolded to her in this moment. But it's something that later on you could see he's not. He did realize she is there. He talked to her when she was coming along alone. And he put her back in the group. But then he left. And that's the thing. So he just put her there. And when the group just moved away from her, she was alone again. So she was not really integrated in the group. So he sees her, but he did not, I guess, he did not realize the problem at that time. Otherwise, seeing that he's shown as the positive and great and influential character who has a lot of knowledge, as it seems, as well. So being charismatic and everything as well. I think he could have an option to bring her in. As I said, I think every of those characters would have their very own ways of doing it. However, when he talked to her later on alone, she retreated. So, about being the loner, being confronted directly with stuff when others are around from your class, it was very much pointed out by Hiki what that means, and that she instead just retreats. The fact that she opened up towards our two main characters is, you know, something that is due to their interaction. Because she realizes, okay, I have a similarity with you, not so much with them. Which brings me to, where is she? I wrote it down, Myra? I think it is Myra. So the beauty queen of the class. Because she said something which was kind of denied by Yuki, sorry. Because Myra said that, what is her name? Rumi is acting a lot like Yuki in the meaning of feeling better than others. And due to that, she is shunned by the others. I don't know if that is a reason. But it is true that we have this statement here. So she thinks of herself as being different. She says, I am different from them. A bit like you too. She said 2, not 3, by the way. You know, Yui is not included. So she sees it herself, she says it herself. And that is something that possibly she did show in the past somehow by comments, by the way she acted, I don't know. So it might be a reason why she is pushed out of the group by the other girls. It might be, doesn't have to be the main reason. But there's a point that Myra has. Myra, whatever her name is. So we have those typical characters in this show, and Myra being the beauty queen, you normally would think something like that she is not the brightest in the bunch, because that's a typical thing to set up, you know, beautiful, the one leading, 2 other girls following her along and repeating her line, and she's giggling all the time and not so clever. That's a typical thing we had in teenage comedy, romantic, whatever stuff in the past. So you wouldn't expect her to have this insight. But she has, and she has a point. That's why I want to point it out. She, in my opinion, has a point there. So that's why I say every one of them, of the counselors, might have their very own way of finding a solution. In the case of Moira being the beauty queen, you already said, why is she being pushed out? She's beautiful, she looks good. So, on the one hand, she cannot completely understand it by saying beautiful or good-looking persons will always find someone to be friends with. Which is a sad truth in most of the cases. The question is this the kind of friendship you want to have? Do you want to have friends because you look good? Or do you want to have friends because of the personality you have? Well, that is something else, you know? So her option of finding a way back in would be like finding someone who admires the beauty of Rumi and then form a friendship there due to that. More neither create a follower. Then we have, as example, Hayama, where I guess he would go with the just good nature that he is, that he would, by being charming and everything, just invite her in, do group work together, and inspire the other kids and ask them to just accept her back in. That might work. Abina, now I got the name, the food lady, possibly, I mean, she pointed out the thing about the hobbies. If you find satisfaction in your hobbies, just live for your hobbies, and you will find other people, because we have a huge society that will love the same hobbies. So sure, she could go, as I pointed out in the beginning, about photographs, with the camera doing photos, if this is her hobby, we don't know yet, and find others, maybe not in her class, but in other classes or in the city, that share this hobby and thus form a friendship there. Sure, I'm not sure if this would help inside of the class, but it would give you like social security. You need friends, it's a fact. Without social bonds, we wither away. Everyone does. Even Hickey does. He has a sister, you know. For the others, I think there are very, very different options of how to react to this situation. And I really would like to see all of them being pointed out and played out, but I think they will just go with one that they decide together. Yuki, however, pointed out, and that was a bit surprising to me, that in her opinion, Yui, our number 3 from the club, had a similar situation in the past. So that's interesting. I mean, in the group of the class favorites of Hayama and Miura, she always was, you know, talking about standard characters, a follower. She was one that followed them because she likes them. I think especially our blonde girl liked her especially, I think, and kind of admired her. That's why I said she's like a follower there. She has I'm not sure, she doesn't have the same situation in the club, in my opinion. She is following those two characters, Hiki and Yuki, but she brings a lot of herself in, and I think there's a different view on her in the club than instead of the other group. So, but it might very well be that she had something like that in the past. We don't know. So, that's an interesting one. We learned about Yuki's and Hayama's connection, which brings a lot of new things to the table as well. So Yuki's family is kind of wealthy, or at least influential. So Hayama's family, I think it was a father, works for her family. Which makes it complicated, partially at least for the kids, because even as a kid you are aware that there is that your father is talking respectfully about the other family, and the money that he gets, what he earns, is due to the other family. So maybe not as a young kid, but growing up, you are aware that you shouldn't be too mean to this girl. You know, if you are too mean to the daughter of the boss of your father, this might come back the long way around by hitting your father out of a job, as example. I don't think this is something that happens there, and I don't think this is a lot of what is back in his mind, because Hayama seems to be a very, very nice dude. But this is a connection there as well. So we don't know, maybe he was kind of like slightly pushed to play with her when she was young, because she's the daughter of the boss. We had the point of you can't make everyone your friend, that's impossible. So one said, let's make everyone friends, and Yuki said that is an impossible thing to achieve. You cannot make everyone being friends with each other. There have many sides on. The one thing is, I like the idea. I like the general concept of I want to make everyone friends with each other. It's a positive attitude, you know? Why can't we be friends? So, however, realistically, I have to go with Yuki. It is impossible to be friends with everyone. We are just not capable of being it. But what we can try at least is to be friendly to everyone. We don't have to be friends, but we at least can be friendly and neutral. And if you find someone where you're like, I just want to get away from you, be neutral, say, I'm sorry, and no. And then just leave, you know? You don't always have to punch them. Doesn't work out the best. I found it interesting that because it was just mentioned by Yuki, that she had a discussion with Miura later on where she made her cry. And in my opinion, she felt guilty about that. So she did not think that she would make the strong and influential class, I would say representative, but I don't think she is. Face of the class, like that, you know, that you make her cry. So she cried possibly because she was out of arguments and realized she couldn't go on there, but maybe we will learn more about how that happened. Because it would tell us a lot about her as well. Yuki, however, seemed to feel bad about that. So making someone else cry, even if you're right, is something we don't take lightly. And I like the fact that she is empathic enough to feel bad about it. And then we have, while she talked about her family, this major statement, in my opinion. Because what is it you think about yourself and you say about yourself? So Yuki said, my sister is, the job of my sister is a family's reputation. We have met her sister. She's the one that on the outside is entertaining, beautiful, funny, everyone likes her, everyone's darling. That's the face she's wearing. And Hiki looked through it and said, man, she's just an act. So that is an act that her sister plays. The question here is how much of it is because her sister wants to be like that, or how much of it is due to the pressure of the family. As we know now, she is responsible for the reputation. She is possibly like the heir to the family. So it might very well be that the sister of Yuki is not happy with the situation either, but she's the family's face. And then Yuki said about herself, I am just a replacement. That is hard. If you say something like that about yourself, not someone else, you yourself say that, and it was not in joke, it was not like, just along the line. There was something that she meant. So she sees herself as that. That is what she thinks she is. And it tells us a lot about her place in the family and how she feels in her family. The moment when, as a kid, as a growing up, doesn't matter as an adult, if you put something on yourself that you are, it defines you. And you feel like that and you will work with what you think you are. So I always wish everyone that when it comes to his family, he's just the kid, you know? He's just the daughter, the brother, the sister, whatever, of a loving family. I am the child that my parents wanted to have. That's the thing, would be the best, you know? A wonderful star child everyone wanted to have. My parents had intercourse, created me, whatever you want to call it, because they needed an heir. Is a sad thing to say, because they did not want to have a kid, they wanted to have an heir. One step further, I am just there in case the heir, her sister, is going away. I'm just a replacement, is even worse. There are movies about that. Have fun looking. So that tells us a lot about Yuki, and it's not a good light in the meaning of self-awareness for herself. And I hope that we can build her up a bit more in the meaning of moving towards a positive view on herself. So, once again, a great, really good episode. The last one was already really good, as you know, I discussed it. But that one, wow, that opens so many gates, so many options. I really look forward to more. So this series is starting to get better and better. thanks for telling me to watch it. That's it from me this time. Enough of me mumbling. As always, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.